Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm playing the newest game in the Command and Colors series. This is Star Wars: The Battle of Hoth. And disclaimer that I was given a review copy by Asmodee for this one, but I'll be playing it using the CDG Solo system from GMT Games, which also sent me a review copy of that. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our weekly podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So I do want to repeat what I said in the disclaimers a second ago, and if any of you click on this video and you're like, yes, Mike designed a solo mode for Battle of Hoth, I did not. In fact, I'm not even playing what many would consider like true solo for this game. I am using GMT's CDG solo system. This is freely available on their website if you print out the components for it. But again, they sent me the like $20 or so one that you can buy. And this allows you to randomize the cards that are available to you each turn while you play both sides. So wah, it's a Mike versus Mike kinda solo gameplay video. But I did this for my coverage of CNC Medieval from GMT Games recently, and I was excited to get back into the system with Star Wars, because I used to play Memoir 44 like over a decade ago, but I haven't played one like this in a while. I've been mostly playing the GMT ones where it's like way more focused on close combat and all that stuff. And what I'm going to try out for the video is playing through a little bit of one of the campaigns. There are 2 campaigns in the box. You can, of course, play one-off scenarios, but how the campaign works is based on who wins, each scenario tells you which next scenario to play, and you also get like some temporary bonuses or additions to your deck. So kind of a fun, cool thing that I've not seen from the system before. All right, so we are playing Assault on Echo Base, and there's narrative intros for both sides, so I'll read that and then read the narrative for the scenario, and then we'll get into play. At ease, Colonel. After hunting the scattered rebels throughout the galaxy, Darth Vader sensed information from one of the probes that were launched. Okay, sorry, I'm super distracted because I don't even know what they were trying to say here. Darth Vader sensed information from one of the probes that were launched Okay, I think they meant to say, let's get back to my voice. Darth Vader sensed that one of the probes that were launched was carrying information that would lead to the ultimate prize. The Imperial fleet has been directed to attack the remnants of the rebel scum on the ice planet of Hoth. Prepare yourself, Colonel. Our orders are clear. Locate and destroy the rebel base and prevent the enemy from fleeing the planet. We have at our disposal regiments of snowtroopers, trained to fight in the most hostile conditions, as well as our powerful all-terrain armored transports, which will have nothing to fear from the pitiful rebel firepower. By striking fast and hard, we can crush these enemies of the Empire. All right, a little intro for the chapter we're playing. Colonel, signals make us suspect the presence of rebel troops in front of your position. Explore the area and keep us informed if you find anything. In case of enemy contact, destroy all their forces. And meanwhile on the rebel side, welcome to Hoth, Lieutenant. Its frozen expanses and frigid nights don't make it the most charming of planets, but its location in an isolated corner of the Outer Rim makes it the ideal place to remain hidden from the Empire. What's more, even though Echo Base is barely established, we have all the necessary infrastructure at our disposal. We even have an energy shield that protects the planet from orbital bombardment and an ion cannon. Our engineers have also succeeded in modifying our T-47 airspeeders to adapt them to freezing temperatures. We've renamed them Snow Speeders, and they'll be invaluable for patrolling and defending the base. An Imperial fleet has just jumped out of hyperspace in Hoth's orbit, so the enemy has most likely succeeded in locating us. If they launch an assault, we most probably won't be able to repel it, so we'll have to delay the Imperial forces as long as possible to evacuate our troops and equipment to a safer system. Lieutenant, we've received your report on suspicious movements in rock formations near your location. An invasion seems imminent. We must investigate and be ready for any attack. Okay, and so they have directed us to play Scenario 3, Enemy Spotted. Let's read what it says for this one. As the patrol was wrapping up, rebel troopers spotted movement in the distance among the rocky formations. Moments later, they were warned of Imperial troops in the area, and their worst fears were confirmed. The enemy was indeed there, and soon would be within firing range. The Imperial forces, still searching for the location of the rebel base, were determined to eliminate this minor threat and quickly resume their reconnaissance mission. However, their sensors detected the arrival of aerial reinforcements, and caution seemed necessary after all. No one wanted to be the one to report the loss of a valuable AT-AT to Lord Vader, especially before the invasion had even begun. Oh, they spelled Vader wrong? Okay. Well, I'm sure the narrative was not what they spent the most time on. But so the rebels have 4 command cards, the Galactic Empire has 4 command cards, the Empire's going to start the game, and whoever gets 5 medals first wins. But the campaign gives you some additional stuff to worry about. For the rebels, if the Snow Speeder unit survives, I get an elite badge on a Snow Speeder unit during setup of the next battle, so I'll have a stronger unit. And for the Empire, if the Imperial Probe Droid unit stands on one of the 2 Ridge hexes at the end of the battle, then the Empire will get 1 additional command card during the next battle. All right, and that's sort of the narrative setup. So let's get into actual gameplay. I'm going to explain the basics of the game. So this is a Command and Colors game. Each player would have their own hand of cards. Again, 4 cards in this scenario. And on your turn, you would play 1 card to order units, often based on where they are in the map in these different areas, which are divided by these red lines, with anything on one of the lines itself counting as being in both areas as needed. And when you order units, you get to move them based on their movement stats. You can move them into terrain, which might affect their movement. And then you get to roll some dice trying to hit the enemy. If you hit them with the correct faces, they lose some figures. And when you destroy their last figure, you use it as a medal to mark that you're closer to victory. So that's kind of the core idea of Command and Color in general. Now let's get into some of the specifics for the new units in this version. So for the Rebels, their infantry units only have 3 figures, whereas the Imperial ones have 4, so they die a little bit more easily. They can move 1 space and then attack, or 2 spaces without attacking if they want to rush. They attack for 3 dice right next to them in close combat, 2 dice if they're 2 away, and 1 die if they're 3 away. The Snowspeeders also have 3 figures. They can move 3 and attack, and they attack for 4 dice if they're adjacent, best in the game, and 2 dice at range 2. And these show what can hit them. The infantry can be hit on an infantry or a blast side. The blast hits everything. And there are 2 infantry faces and 1 blast face on each die, so that's a 50% chance whenever you attack to hurt an infantry. Whereas the Snowspeeders only get hurt on a vehicle or a blast, which is 1/3 of the faces. And then we don't have these little defensive cannons, but those would only be hurt on a blast 1/6 of the time. Going to the Imperials, their infantry are exactly the same, except they have 4 figures instead of 3. The AT-AT is very hard to kill. They only have a single figure, so 1 hit will kill them. But for every hit you roll, either a vehicle or a blast, which is again 1/3 chance, you need to roll for confirmation, and only if the die gets another blast do you actually destroy them. Also, each die has 1 retreat symbol that'll force the person being shot at to retreat towards their side of the board. But the AT-ATs are completely immune to retreat. They can move 1 space and then shoot for 3 dice, regardless of range, up to 3 spaces away. And then finally, the probe droids, these are the ones that were referenced in their side objective, can only be hit by explosions, only a 1/6 chance. They only have 2 figures. They can move 2 and then attack pretty weakly, 2 dice if they're next to you, 1 if they're 2 away. And when we kill them, they don't get us a medal. So killing them would just stop them from annoying us and would also prevent them from getting to the ridges for that bonus objective. And would probably make Han Solo happy because you wouldn't have to hear them say, what is it, clear the system or whatever it sounds like in the movie. And then in terms of the terrain, there's only 3 types in this scenario. So the ridge, AT-ATs cannot move onto it, but besides that, it doesn't stop any movement. It blocks line of sight if you're shooting through it. And it has protection where anybody attacking you rolls 1 fewer die when you're on it. And then rocks, these are by far the most common ones. When you move into it, you have to stop moving. You can't attack the turn you move into it, even if you normally could. And it also subtracts dice, 1 if you're being attacked by infantry, 2 if you're being attacked by a vehicle. And they also block line of sight. And then finally, we've got 2 of these Seracs, which are impassable for movement and block line of sight. So all of this is rocks. That's some of the Seracs, tons more rocks, and the 2 ridges. And the Imperials have 1 AT-AT, and then just a crud ton of infantry and the 1 probe droid. And the Rebels also have a bunch of infantry and 1 Snowspeeder unit. So how the CDG solo system works, if you didn't see my video on the Command and Colors medieval game, is that on your turn, the Empire's first, you're going to roll one of these dice, and it'll both tell you which cards to flip face up, so you can see, and the other you can also kind of see what might happen. And it also limits which cards you can pick. So basically, the solo challenge while playing against yourself is that you're going to have limitations and limited information, and you're trying to play both sides to the best of your ability with that. Now, this works very smoothly with Battle of Hoth because there's really not very many extra rules. The only one is that in the campaign mode, you get these support cards that you can use when indicated. So here we start with 1. So this one says, Rat, when attacking, 1 unit ignores terrain protections before rolling your dice. So we could ignore that like -1 or -2 thing. And then air support for the Rebels says, select any unit and roll 2 dice against it. This attack also ignores terrain protections at any time during your turn. So how I'm going to play these, because again, these are not part of any of the CDG solo system like rules that they've published, is that I can just play them as makes sense to me. So with that being said, let's see what the Empire's choices are. So we roll the die, and they got C, D, E, which means they're going to flip over those indicated spots, C, D, and E, and then they have to pick one of those cards to play. So they've got a raid on the right flank, a raid on the left flank, and a precision fire tactic card. It says order 1 vehicle. This unit can move 1 additional hex and rolls 1 additional die. Huh. Well, I just looked, and even with extra movement, the AT-AT still cannot get into range with that. So I think I'm going to play the Raid 2 on the left side, because I don't want these guys to just kind of be out in the open. I'd love for them to get to the ridges or the rocks. Although, of course, the Rebels will have a pretty easy time doing that. So let's move these 4 up 2, which means they couldn't shoot, although they're out of range anyway. And I will bring the AT-AT up 1. Then I could use that precision fire thing to move it up and attack somebody later. That's it for my turn. No attacking. And whenever I play a card, I refill with a face down card. But now, as the Rebel player, I know that precision fire and raid are potentially going to happen, but I don't know what's going to be rolled. All right, Rebels. We got just D and E. All right, what do we got? We can assault, ordering everyone, oh God, in the middle or the left. I guess I should have shuffled the cards better. Well, I think ordering on the left makes most sense because then I can get my infantry into the rocks before the Imperials get in there. So we got these 3. So let's see. You have to stop moving when you move in. So we'll have them go like that. These guys can go like that. And these guys can end on the center to give me a bit more flexibility when ordering them. Although now my left side is pretty empty. All right, so far, no attacks whatsoever. This is going great. Okay, this one is a weird one. So it has a lowercase e and then a less than symbol. And what this one means is I can flip any cards I want until I have 2 face-up cards, which I already do, so nothing to do here. And then I can either play any tactic card or the lowest order card of a non-tactic card, like the lowest number of units ordered. So basically, I can just pick one of the 2 that I already have. And I'm torn between the raid and the precision fire, because I could get off a pretty nasty shot with the AT-AT. But let's do the raid on the right. All right, I'm still going to be able to shoot anybody because I'm still going to be getting the rocks. I'm going to have these guys go here and these guys go here and just try to like seize the best space for everything. Now, they did only move 1, so usually they could shoot at range 3 as long as line of sight applied to these units for 1 die. But since they moved into rocks, they cannot attack. All right, and Rebels, how do you answer? Oh, exact same thing. Okay, so we just got to flip up 2 cards. I don't know, let's flip up A. Oh, and we did get tactic. Order 1 artillery unit. Well, that'd be great if I had any. This unit can attack twice and roll 1 additional die. If you don't command any artillery, order 1 unit of your choice. So I can order everybody in the center or just 1 artillery unit. I think I am going to do everybody in the center. And the question is, do I want to do a big attack with my stow speeders? Because remember, I get a bonus if they stay alive. They're my most powerful unit. But they can't really concentrate fire too much. I mean, those guys could shoot them. But if they move here, they would get 3 dice on those guys. And if they almost kill them, I could use my artillery support to finish them off. But the problem is I can't get anybody else to shoot them in a meaningful way. Well, either way, let's move these guys up. And I'm getting right in close combat. But since I'm on the terrain, I have a big advantage there. I guess I'll move these guys up as well. And then they can come over to support the snow speeders. And what the hey? Okay, and I don't even know whether to put them on the right or the center. Well, I guess I'll do the right because I haven't gotten a right card yet. Well, no, because then those other infantry can shoot, so I'll go here. And normally at close combat range, I would roll 4 dice, but because they are in... Oh, crud, rocks take away 2 for non-infantry. Now, you know what? I'm not going to move the snow speeders in yet. I'll move them, like, over here to have more range of motion for later, because I don't think it's worth it to put them in such danger. Okay, so eventually I think we'll get an attack in here, but let's see. Oh, C, D, E. So we've got a recon. What recon normally does is it lets you order 1 movement in the area, and then when drawing a new command card, you draw 2, choose 1, and discard the other. How it works instead in the CDG solo system is when you refill, after using that action, you refill face up. Or search and destroy. Order 2 units of your choice. These units ignore all terrain protections for their close combat attacks, so only at point-blank range. Ooh, man. Yeah, I want to do that. Let's go for this. Because look, I can move these guys here, and then the AT-AT here, and do a 3 dice and another 3 dice attack on these guys with no minus. Okay, so I'm going to start with the AT-AT, because if I get lucky and just kill the guys, then, that's it. So it is 3 dice. There would usually be -2 for the rocks, but the search and destroy power took care of that. Oh, that was a terrible roll. So that's a vehicle hit and an infantry hit, so they only killed 1 of them. But that's okay, because now the infantry can attack. And, okay, that's it. 2 wild hits. So that's 1, 2, and the second one goes on their medals to show they got 1 out of 5 kills. Take that, rebel scum. All right, I did not love that. I also don't love this stupid artillery barrage. Oh, man. So I can flip over 1 more card, and then I got to pick a tactics card or the lowest value. So I don't know. Let's look at C. Oh, man. A recon or an artillery barrage. So either way, I'm doing a single unit. All right. I think I'll do the recon. Let's return some fire. We'll have these guys shoot at them for 3 dice because they don't have any defense. And okay, 2 hits and a retreat. So they are half dead, and the retreat has to go towards their side of the board. If they can't retreat, they take a damage, which actually was bad for my guy right here. They didn't have anywhere to go and would have been more easy to kill. And I could use my air support to possibly finish them off, but that's a pretty low odds chance, right, of getting 2 hits. So for now, we're fine. Well, let's get some better cards. I'd like to order more than one person, please. Over to the Empire. D&E, so the recon's already revealed, and Trooper Assault. Order all infantry units in one section. Woo! Oh man, I could do something kind of crazy. I just don't know if it's smart. Look, if I picked the right, I could have these guys run onto the ridge and these guys run onto the ridge. Yes, they'd be at the potential mercy of 3 point-blank attacks, but all with -1 from the ridge. And then they would take away the complete, ability for the rebels to even get up on here and seize that terrain. You know, whatever, I'm going to do it. Let's do a trooper assault. So yeah, they're going to move 2, which means no attack, but that's fine. They're going to do the same. And then these guys, well, they have to stop moving whenever they move up. So I guess for now, let's kind of empty out my center and have more on the right. Oh man, I think the rebels are sweating. Or maybe they're not. Let's get a die to order the right finally, or a card. God darn it. Artillery barrage. Oh, and direct from HQ, order 3 units of your choice. Yeah, that's got to be the one. And these are the 3 units because, I mean, this is just a crisis otherwise. Well, actually, I could do 2 of the infantry and 1, 2, 3. These guys can attack for 3 dice, even with the -1, because it's not extra minus for the vehicles here. All right, so that's 1 unit, 2 units, because if we kill them, I'll start shooting at those ones. And then 1 of these 3. All right, so let's have the snow speeders first. 4 dice, -1 is 3. And they did 1 damage and pushed him off the ridge, which I kind of forgot could happen. That's changes my plan somewhat. Yeah, now these guys cannot shoot because how it works is the ridge and all the other terrain in here blocks line of sight. Units block line of sight. And when you're looking straight down a line, like if I wanted to shoot these guys, then you're okay if all the line of sight blockage is just on one side of that line, but here it's blocked on both sides. So I just waste their attack entirely because you do have to decide before. All right, but these guys still get to shoot them, but only 2 dice after their minus and nothing. What the heck? Direct from HQ, you suck, is what's being said here. But hey, maybe the Empire won't be able to order them and they'll be able to shoot them again before they move. Okay, so we got the other weird one. Yeah, so I guess I can show all the sides. It's ABC, DE, CDE, AB, the weird one with tactics and flipping 2 cards, and then this one with a C less than exclamation point. What? So how it works is you flip over C, but nothing else if nothing else is face up. And then you either play C or the lowest regular order count card. So here, I mean, they can display literally what they have. They can do the precision fire or the recon. All right, I think it has to be the precision fire with the AT-AT. So they can move up to 2. Sure, I don't know if I really need to do that. Now they're attacking with +1 die, but it's -2. Well, let's go ahead and do route and ignore that. So 4 dice against the infantry. And, okay, 1 hit and a retreat, which could have been worse. I guess I'll retreat them onto the intersection so I can order them more easily. By the way, in this scenario, I forgot to say, if the rebels kill the AT-AT, then they get 2 medals instead of 1, which would be awesome, but it's just so friggin' hard to kill. You have to get really lucky. Okay, they got the E less than. Jeez. All right, let's flip onto this time. Okay, so they can do a raid for 2 in the middle, which is definitely what they're going to do, because they can attack that infantry unit that's out in the open, or the artillery barrage. Yep. All right, so 2 in the middle, 2 in the middle. I can put these guys back on top of the ridge to protect them from attack a bit, or just focus all my fire because these guys are going to attack for 4. So I could also move these guys up, or they could even run and grab the rocks there. Well, let's do this. I'm going to move these guys 1. I'm going to leave the snow speeders where they are. And then if the snow speeders kill these guys, they can get at least a weenie attack over there. All right, so 4 dice from the snow speeders. Boom. Okay, that's it. They're dead. 1, 2, 3. So that's the first medal for the rebels, tying it up. And yep, now these guys can shoot them. So it would normally be 2 for 2 range, but -1 because of the ridge. So nothing great. But I guess I got a bit greedy, seizing that forward terrain. Okay, what's the Empire going to do now? CDE. There we go. Some more options. They've got Imperial Assault. Hey, that's a board game. Oh, pincer move. Oh, man. That looks like it's probably going to be the one. Well, let's look at Imperial Assault real quick. Order 3 units of the same type. They move 1 additional hex, which means infantry could move 2 and attack, or 3 and not attack. But yeah, I think the pincer move is the way to go. So these guys might as well stay where they are. And then these guys, they can give up the rocks. I want to be able to shoot the the snow speeders and try to kill them before they give the bonus to the rebels. And then on this side, let's have the AT-AT roll up and say, hi, do you remember me? And we don't want to move up these guys because, you know, injured units are really a liability in these games. So instead, I'll move up the full unit of 4 to get into the action. Or maybe over here so they can, like, kind of pick their side a bit more. All right, AT-AT is attacking these guys. That's 1 damage and 2 retreat, but the first retreat means that they can't get away, so that's a 2nd medal for the Imperials. And then over here, oh, wait, I wanted to focus fire on the snow speeders. So even though it's going to put them in more harm's way, I'm going to go here. So let's do a 2 dice attack on the snow speeders first. We'll see how that goes and then decide what we want to do. 1 hit, uh-oh. And now, yeah, with that, they'll definitely go for the 3 dice attack. And 1 more hit. So it might be time for the snow speeders to run away. All right, over here. Stupid artillery barrage. D&E, okay. We've got defensive position or trooper assault. Oh, these both sound good. Order all infantry units in 1 section. We've got a ton over on the right. God, the rebels are like dead. They don't have that many units. These roll 1 additional die. Oh my God. Or defensive position. Order 3 units of your choice. These units cannot move, but also roll 1 additional die. What the fridge? Okay. I mean, either way, we could just blast this guy out of existence and maybe hurt that guy too. Now, with the trooper assault, we can't do anything with the snow speeder, but we could move up on this ridge to get the closer assaults and also stop those guys from getting into cover. And I just gotta hope that we kill this guy and maybe kill them too, so the snow speeder doesn't die. Although the AT-AT is almost in range to just attack him anyway. So sure, we're going to do the trooper assault. So they'll move up onto the thing, which remember does not end your ability to attack. These guys will move up here just to be a little bit more forward. And these guys will be where they are. Oh, so what happens if they retreat? I guess we can't really do anything about that if it happens. All right, well, so it goes. So we're rolling +1 die, but -1 for the thing they're on. So let's start with these guys against them. We don't want them to retreat. Oh, just 1 damage. Well, that was not great. All right, now these dudes on them. 3 hits. Or 2. Gosh darn it. Oh, actually, that's okay. These guys can shoot at them instead of the ones they plan to shoot at. So, yep, that's 2 more hits. So that's a 2nd medal for the rebels, tying it up again. By the way, how the heck is the Empire supposed to get their probe droids over there? Like, that's wild. The guys only moved 2 spaces. I feel like the battle will be over long before that happens. You know what else might be over? This snow speeder, if the Imperials get a chance to attack it. By the way, I do still have the air support, but how it works in the campaign is if you don't use this in one battle, it pays forward to the next one. So, I mean, at this point, yeah, I don't really have anybody specific to attack. So let's see what the Empire's got. The E less than, so they have to do the recon or the Imperial assault. Oh shoot, the Imperial assault will let the AT-AT do a double move. Yeah, that's going to be it. I forgot about that option. So Unit 1 will be able to kill them. Unit 2, you know what, let's move these guys in. They're just kind of hanging out. And then Unit 3 has to be these guys. They could retreat, but I think we're about to be winning, so they might as well keep on being aggressive. I mean, I wish they could move on the rocks, but let's go right in here. All right, AT-AT on the snow speeder. Can they survive? They cannot. That is the end of our hopes of having an elite snow speeder next battle and our 3rd medal. Okay, and then these guys will attack there for 3. Well, actually, you know what? Let's have... Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. I was going to say let's have them attack for their 1 die first, but if these guys retreat, they can just go there, and then it will still be 1 fewer die. All right, so they'll just attack for 3. Well, no, I will have them attack for 1 first, because they're less likely to get a retreat. Vehicle result, nothing. And now these guys attacking for 3. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Oh, you know, I forgot that we could have moved. Wasn't it the thing that lets you move extra? Yeah, so I would have, you know what, let's just say that I did. Let's say these guys moved up 1, because they would have wanted to be closer to attack, so they'll roll 1 extra die, which is a hit. Cheating slightly, but I forgot what the card let me do. All right, so the Empire only needs to kill 2 more units, unless I can take out, like, the AT-AT, which would be 4 out of 5. Maybe I should go for a big AT-AT attack. And yes, I'm saying AT-AT, even though as a kid I just called them AT-ATs. Oh! Okay, so we have to pick a tactic. The defensive one, where we can't move. Oh, but that would actually work fine, because the AT-AT is right next to one of my infantry. I should have paid attention to that, too. Let's go for it. All right, so 3 units that can't move. I mean, this is obvious, right? 1, 2, 3. All the ones that have close death shots. And they roll one more die. All right, 4 dice on the AT-AT. So just to remind you how this works. They ignore retreat. For each explosion or vehicle result, I will re-roll that die, and if I get a single explosion through on the second re-roll, they die. Here we go against the AT-AT. That's 2. They ignore the retreat. That's a chance. We got a 1/6 chance with each of these dies. We need that yellow explosion. And, oh my God, the whole battle shifts. All right, so that's 2 medals. We need 1 more. And, oh man, this is it. This is totally it. We get 2 4-dice attacks. Who should go first? If these guys go first and they retreat once, they can go there, which would still have line of sight, or there for the defensive bonus. If these guys attack and they retreat once, the same basic thing, I guess. We'll have them go first. All right, 4 dice with the bonus. Oh my gosh, that's 3 kills. They got 1 guy left. All right, here we go. If they somehow survive this, that'd be crazy. Nope. Wow, the rebels turned it around in a single turn because Mike didn't pay attention to how dangerous it was for his AT-AT. So when you win a scenario in the campaign, you go to the booklet of the winner, and it'll tell you what to do. So it says if we have a rebel victory, we're going to do Hill Alpha Defense, and we'll both read Chapter C, so it's kind of like a branching thing. And the rebels get a second support card, but the Empire gets an extra infantry unit to the baseline hex of their choice, so like at the back of the map, and they also get a support card. And neither of us completed our objectives, so the Imperial won't have extra cards, and the rebels won't have an advanced snowspeeder unit. And by the way, if you're curious about how extra cards work, like let's say that it was a situation where the Empire had 5 cards and the rebels had 4, what you do is you add an extra card to the A slot, and whenever that gets revealed, whenever you roll a result that lets you turn that over, you get 2 cards there instead of 1, and you can pick either of them. And then, like, if somebody had 6 cards versus 4, you do the same thing with slot B. If you had 7 cards versus 4, a 3-card advantage, same thing with C, and so on. Not that I think it would ever get that high in this version of the game. And by the way, a slight bummer with the Rebels winning, you have these fun cards keyed after certain characters, 3 each. So look, there's 3 Luke Skywalker cards, 3 Leia Organa cards, 3 Darth Vader cards. You get the idea? And look, if the Empire had won that scenario, would have gone to a different scenario, and the Rebels would have had Han Solo in their deck instead. But anyway, that was the Battle of Hoth, a sort of solo play. Again, I haven't checked for like any unofficial solo variants, but I think the CDG system works great, as long as you don't mind kind of the cognitive dissonance of playing against yourself. That's something I'm used to from my war game days going back to 2 decades or more now. But hey, let's throw in a little review of this new system as someone who has played Memoir 44 and tons of the GMT Command & Color games going back for years. And I like it. It is definitely more Memoir 44 and much, much less the CNC GMT games because there's only a few units. Again, we had every unit in this battle except for the artillery on the rebel side. But the rules are straightforward and quick to learn. They have good, quick reference guides for the units. And for the terrain, nothing is too complicated. And the core combat of the Command & Color system has always been a good time. That's why it's passed the test of time and been around for so many years and so many iterations. Yes, of course, the randomness of which cards you get can be annoying, and especially in this CDG solo system, like you'll even be able to see cards and not be able to use them, although that's part of the entire design, because that way, as the other player, you don't have complete, perfect information of what they can and can't do. But yeah, deciding what to order, how much to commit, how much to push or not is always exciting in these games. And then even though it's random as heck, and my chances of killing that AT-AT were probably not ideal, you have those amazing times where the roll is exactly what you need it to be. Or, hey, that could have been my roll against the AT-AT and I would have done nothing and had 2 fewer medals. So it is a random game. It's a silly beer and pretzel level game. But for that, this is a really fun version. Would I say it's better than Memoir 44, just the base game, because that's had a billion expansions and things? And I would say maybe. I mean, I personally like the Star Wars theme better and the fun pieces like the AT-AT. But the big thing I think it has over base Memoir 44 is that it has all these extra kind of like modules and add-ons. You can choose to use these hero cards to have a little bit of differentiation between the sides, even more than their units. And also, I think the units, it's been a while since I played base Memoir 44, like years, but I think the units are identical in the initial release, whereas here, the AT-AT is very different than the Snowspeeder, is very different from the artillery, so you get some unit differentiation. Also, Memoir doesn't have the campaign modes, which I think are great, because they just give you something else to think about and something to think about long term. Like, yeah, okay, maybe you lose horribly because of a stupid die roll, but at least you kept your Snowspeeders alive to get a bonus in the next game, so it kind of makes winning or losing feel feel a little different, although I guess it could be even worse if somebody won the game and also got their side objective, but that's all part of the fun of the game. And note that it does try to kind of correct when one side wins. So look, here, when I won with the Rebels, I only get a support card, but the Empire gets a support card and another infantry unit. So they get like a little extra boost to help them hopefully come back. So I think that's fun. These support cards give you extra little bonuses when needed. That's an interesting tactical choice. So I think this is a great release. It's pretty inexpensive. The components are really nice. And I've enjoyed playing it so far competitively and, solo, again, with the freely printable CDG solo system from GMT. So if you're thinking of getting Memoir 44 and you don't vastly prefer the World War II theme to Star Wars, I would get this one instead. I think there's more fun stuff going on. Although I guess Memoir allows you to expand more. Is that even still in print? It must be. I don't know if it is. Should have done some research before I recorded this. But obviously, all of that being said, if you want a game that is way crunchier for better or worse in terms of rules and unit differentiation and scenario differentiation with leaders and like all that crazy stuff, Command & Colors Medieval is probably still my favorite over Command & Colors Ancients and Samurai and those other ones. But just be ready to sticker like a million wooden blocks and also be ready for things to be a lot more complicated because this is a way more straightforward use of the Command & Colors system. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, J. William F., Steve Wren, Pedro Lucas, Miles, KCW, Andrew R., and Chris C. We'll see you at the next stop.